What's good people, and welcome back to the Silly, Nerdy, and Wordy podcast. My name is BK, back here on Crewboy Productions. This is episode 65. Is Mission Impossible 8 the most epic finale ever? Let's find out in this spoiler review. And in this spoiler review, I discussed the deep dive of this film, went into spoilers of how the story is interwoven from movie one from 1996 all the way into this current movie, and making previous characters more relevant and relating them to a current character that has been in these more recent movies in the last 2 years, the action sequences and how they do it, and the Tom Cruise involvement and his deep commitment and using his personal items in these movies, and just how the music and the score and just the story and everything just had a purpose. So I go deep into that. So if you like that kind of thing, you can subscribe to the channel. You can leave a like and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought about the episode, about the movie, and let me know what 3 movies are you looking forward to watching this summer. And if you want to listen to the podcast, you are welcome to do so. I am on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcast to listen to, and rate and review as well. So with all of this out of the way, here is episode 65, the spoiler review for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Enjoy. What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Silly, Nerdy, and Wordy podcast, episode number 65. I am BK, and it is great to be with you again as I get into this spoiler review of Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. This is going to be a spoiler review. This is your spoiler warning. You have been warned. If you haven't seen it, go check it out and come back, give me a listen, give me a watch, and let's get into it. I hope everybody's doing well. What's going on, everybody? Very excited to talk about this movie. I enjoyed this movie. It was one of my movies I was looking forward to the whole year. I know there's some other big ones coming up later this year and this summer, but this one was a big one for me. And this movie is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, and he has directed 3 previous Mission Impossible movies, so he has a great working relationship with Tom Cruise. The previous Mission Impossible movies that he directed include Mission Impossible Rogue Nation back in 2015, then Mission Impossible Fallout back in 2018, and then Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 back in 2023. And of course, now we have this new one here in 2025. And this movie stars Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is a producer on this film. It also stars Pom Klementieff, Haley Atwell, Simon Pegg, Vin Rames, Esai Morales, Shea Wingham, and Angela Bassett. Very prominent role, bringing her back. Very good to see her. And this was a awesome movie. I enjoyed this from start to finish. Just overall, I enjoyed it. I really didn't have any issues except one small minor nitpicky thing. But the way this movie started, the way it opened with, it was a long open, about 30 to 45 minutes before the opening credits. I like how they opened, and just kind of paying homage to all of the previous films, the previous characters, the actors, and of course, one of them unfortunately passed away, paying homage to him, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and just interconnecting all of the previous films into the story of this current film. And then also having Angela Bassett be the one delivering her character, delivering the message, the mission to Tom Cruise. And she was able to say the words, "This mission will self-destruct in 5 seconds." And as she said on a recent interview on one of the morning talk shows. I can't remember which one, but she said that it was the first time that a woman had said those words in the film, because all previous 7 films, it was always a man saying that this mission will self-destruct. So she was very excited, as she was saying in the interview, that she got to say those words. So she was very excited to do it and just to come back in this role overall. And then she's just had a busy time on TV and film. Of course, she's in 911, that epic last 3 episodes of the season, and now being in this movie. But anyways, yeah, this movie opened pretty good, and that was just the opening, the way they just did it, and just bringing everything that was done from the very first movie back in 1996 all the way to now in 2025. So I really, really like how they brought her back. Of course, her character was in the 2018 Mission Impossible Fallout, and her character at that time was the director of the CIA. And so they now bring her character back, and now she is now the president of the United States in this film. So she goes from director of the CIA to president of the United States. So pretty great that they were able to bring her back all these years later. A little bit about the score and the music. Of course, the Mission Impossible theme itself and the music. I do like the way it was just interwoven all the way throughout this film from start to finish, in big moments and small moments, different instruments, different tempos, different arrangements, just putting that in as the moment needed it to be in the different conversations. Just really, really great how they did that. It's almost like the composer used how John Williams does with Star Wars, weaving in the theme of different Star Wars themes throughout Star Wars films. That's how this was done in this film. And then let's get to the action sequences. Enjoyed all of them, and they were very well put together. The chases, the underwater, the hand-to-hand combat, the explosions that everyone was involved in. Of course, I want to speak on particularly the underwater sequence. That one, I enjoyed that one. It did kind of slow the movie down, the pacing just a little bit, but it was necessary to do that. And obviously, Tom Cruise's character was underwater for a good period of time, and these stunts are very hard to do. Watching all of and knowing all of the previous Mission Impossible movies, and watching all of the behind-the-scenes featurettes, as well as recently Top Gun Maverick, I can say that I would believe most of the stunts, specifically about Tom Cruise stunts, I would say he probably did the majority of his stunts, just knowing and seeing all of the featurettes he's done, because he said in many times that he has trained his mind, he's trained his body to go and do these things for years and years. He's cultivated this, doing these things in between movies, particularly the underwater submission part of this, when he was under the water, as he was trying to get the key, get the source code of the entity. And I could imagine there was a lot of underwater training that he had to do. And I want to go back to one of Tom Cruise's previous movies back in 2022, Top Gun Maverick. And he did an extensive amount of training along with his cast for that movie. And part of the training with that was underwater training as well. So I imagine that has helped him in this movie as well. And I'm pretty sure, I can't confirm this, but as soon as they wrapped the 2023 Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, he probably started training his mind and body for all of the different stunts that he was going to be doing in this film, including the underwater submissions, as well as flying those planes and doing the stunts with the planes. Of course, he's flown planes, he's flown helicopters, and though that particularly towards the end of the movie, there is a red and a yellow plane, and there's probably a high chance that one of those planes, or maybe both of those planes, may be Tom Cruise's planes as well, in terms of his own personal plane, because he's done that in previous movies, particularly back in Top Gun Maverick. There's a scene towards the end where his character is flying in a plane with Jennifer Connelly's character, and it ended up being that the plane that they flew in that movie was his personal plane. It was shown in the behind the scenes featurettes. And so there's a good chance that one or maybe both of those planes were Tom's plane. But all of the stunts that everyone did, it was just well done. And it was very meaningful, well put together. Just enjoy them. So hats off to safety and stunt coordinators, stunt team, everyone involved in those stunts. And of course, you had to have the running. So he was running all over the place. Of course, he has to run in a Mission Impossible movie. And then the story along with the dialogue. I really love the story, the stakes, the high stakes that this movie went. And again, like I said before, just interweaving all of the previous Mission Impossible movies and bringing it into this story was a great idea, especially if this is supposed to be the final reckoning, the final Mission Impossible movie. Whether he comes back and does another one, who knows? But the way they made all of the previous movies, going all the way back to the first one, make it very an integral part of the story, and including bringing back a character from the first movie back in 1996, and then making a character in this movie a son of a character that was in the first movie. Particularly, I'm talking about the Jon Voight's character back in the first movie back in 1996. His son ended up being a main character in this film, which was Shea Whigham's character. He ended up being the son of Jon Voight's character in this film, so connecting Mission Impossible 1 with this one. And then they also brought back a character as well, the CIA analyst William Dunhole. And this was the analyst that was, if you've seen the very first Mission Impossible movie, he was the guy in the glasses in that small white fluorescent room that in the very first movie, Ethan Hunt had to come down from the ceiling. And that famous stunt where he goes down, he puts his hands all the way out, to steal the particular piece of information from the computer. And he does that. And of course, as he's going back up, there's a knife, and he drops the knife. And if he drops the knife, it hits the floor, the sensors, then he's going to be caught. But the knife drops on the desk, and it drops on the desk pointed up. And then Tom goes back up into the ceiling. He escapes. And then the guy, the CIA analyst, comes back in the room. He went for a lunch break. He came back. He didn't see anything, but then he saw the knife. He picked it up, and he didn't know where it came from. And then we fast forward to this film. This character appears in about the second act of the film, and they meet again, though they meet for the first time, and have a conversation. So they were able to bring him back. And then they also brought the prop back, that particular knife, and he was able to hand the knife back to Ethan Hunt, as a nice thing. So bringing that character back from movie 1 all the way into movie 8, that was a great idea to bring him back. So, and again, also about the story, all of the conversations, all of the dialogue, they were very meaningful. They all had weight. They all had a necessary purpose to drive the story forward, and all the different places that Ethan and his team had to go. It all made sense. It drove the story forward, and all the different things, just connecting everything, moving everything in the right direction. So hats off to the writers, hats off to the director and Tom Cruise. I know he was involved in the story, in the script, getting everything moving in the right direction. So everything had weight, had meaning. Every conversation, every piece of dialogue, to me, was very good and very meaningful as the story continued to progress. So I definitely enjoyed it. And then, of course, one thing that the stakes were very high. And of course, not everybody survived. And of course, the character of Luther, he did not survive. He was the one that was lost. He did die for a purpose to serve the story. So that was sad, but obviously necessary for the story. So losing him was sad. And then there was one moment of comedy in there. I thought it fit really well. And it was a nice moment. It was quick. easy out and then back to the story. So I thoroughly enjoyed, I enjoyed that. And just like I said, the movie overall and the whole AI aspect, especially it's kind of almost genius in a way, the way how AI is a big thing in the world today. And the villain, the overall arching villain of this film was an AI system, which I could say it's probably, it's a little scary, but interesting how they, it's not just defeating one bad guy and saving the world, all the things they had to do this at the very last moment. So it was just a good way to tell a story, to kind of push this character to the limit, as well as the team, instead of having to do this one thing or do this one stunt. So very, very good the way this story interwove with all the things they had to do, and then it made sense for all the different stunts to have to happen in terms of jumping in the ocean, flying the planes, the car scene, the chases, and everything. So everything made sense. Bringing the characters back and then bringing Angela Bassett's character back, that making sense, like I said, and just going through all of that. So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. And as I go through this, if you're liking what you're hearing, subscribe. For those new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. I'll have more content coming, as well as future guests coming as well. So this movie overall, like I said, I really, really enjoyed it from start to finish. And it is definitely rewatchable. It is definitely Blu-ray worthy for me, and I can't wait to purchase the movie on Blu-ray and just kind of rewatch, not only just rewatch the movie, but obviously I want to see how this movie was made. I want to see how they did these particular stunts and just the overall approach that they took with this movie. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the behind the scenes featurettes and how, and the involvement of Tom Cruise and with this crew and all the different departments and what they did to bring this film to life. So I can't wait to see that. So that's going to be very exciting for me to watch and see how these things were made, because I just see the passion and the expertise of all the different departments that were involved in this film. So really, really enjoyed it. But those are my overall thoughts of this film in terms of breaking it down, and I really, really enjoyed it. Great, excellent film. The only one nitpicky thing, like I said, when he went underwater in the sea to get the key and the source code, it was slow, like I said, but it was necessary. But other than that, for me, it was near perfection. This movie, so good. Every move, every decision, every choice they've made on and off screen, with the characters, with the story, with the action sequences, the conversations, all had meaning, all had weight, all had a purpose. So very good to everyone involved. And let me see, is there anything else I want to say about this? No, I think that's it for this movie. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you want to hear more film breakdowns from my perspective and spoiler reviews, I have plenty of spoiler reviews on the channel. And if you want to listen to this podcast, you are able to listen. This podcast is on Spotify, is on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Audible, and wherever you listen to your podcast, and watch it here on YouTube with Crewboy Productions, or watch it on Spotify as well. You can follow on Spotify. So leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you thought about the movie. Will you see the movie? What was your favorite part of the movie? Did you enjoy the action sequences? Is there anything that you didn't like? Tell me what you didn't like if that is the case, and will you be watching it? Maybe it'll make you want to rewatch the previous Mission Impossible movies. And yeah, that's all for today. Like, subscribe, comment, follow, and of course, leave a review, rate as well on the audio side. So until next time, we will talk soon.